Good morning everybody, happy Tuesday. I hope you've had a great day yesterday and raring to go for today. So yesterday we were looking at using AM in the morning and PM in the afternoon or the evening, and today we're going to be looking at a 24-hour clock. So just a quick recap on yesterday. AM is obviously meaning in the morning. It starts from when midnight happens and the new day starts, all the way up till lunchtime, and PM is from lunchtime at 12 o'clock until the evening, until it gets to midnight. So AM for after morning and PM for past midday. Okay, so I want us to have a think about now, when we were looking at digital clocks over the last couple of days, what is the time on a digital clock when it is midnight, so when the day starts? And what time would the clock be if it was in the middle of the day at midday? What time would be on the clock? Have a think, and then once you think you know the answer, click play. Well done. Midnight will be 0000 because this is when a new day starts. Midnight is when a day finishes and a new day starts. So just as if we were counting upwards, we would always start from 0. So our day starts at 0000. Now, midday is halfway through the day. Now, if you remember, there are 24 hours in a day. We know that at midday, when it is in the middle, it will be half of 24, so it will be 12 o'clock. So 12 o'clock would be lunchtime and 0000 would be midnight. Okay, now I've got two clocks here. Now, both of these clocks show 1 o'clock. What's the difference? But what also is the same? Have a think and then have a listen to the answer. So if you've said that the minutes are the same, you are correct, because both have the same number of minutes, because remember, the right hand side is the minutes and the left hand side of the colon is the hour. So the right hand side says 00 for both, and we know that if it is 00, it is o'clock because no minutes have passed yet. So we both can see that they're both at o'clock. Now both of these numbers show 1 o'clock. However, one of them says it is 1, and one of them says it is 13. Now the reason for this is because it tells us on a 24-hour clock what time it is, whether it is in the morning or whether it is in the evening. So whether it is AM in the morning or PM in the evening. Now because midnight is 0000, that would be the start of our morning because it's the start of a new day. So 01 would be AM and 13 would be in the PM. Does anybody notice how many numbers there are between 01 and 13? There are 12 numbers, so have a think, keep that number in your head. So here's a rule to remember. If the digital time, when you're looking at digital clocks, if it starts with a 0, just like this number here does, 01, this means that it will be in the morning, so it will be in the AM, because midnight will have just happened and 01 will be the next one. So all the way from 01 up to 09 will be in the AM. But obviously we then turn to 10 and 11 and 12, so we turn to 2-digit numbers. Now 10 AM, it will still be in the AM, so if it was 10, it would still be in the AM. 11 would still be in the AM. However, once it turns to the number 12, because this is halfway through the day, this then changes to PM. So any number that is past 12 on your digital clock, so for example this one here says 13, this will be in the afternoon, it will be in the PM going into the evening. Let's have a look at this one then. Both of these clocks show 3:30. What is the same? What is different? Have a pause of the video now and have a think. What is the same and what's different between these two numbers? Okay, you can see that yes, the minutes are the same. There are 30 minutes past the hour, which we know there are 60 minutes on a clock, and so half of 60 is 30, so it is half past. Now, it says that they are 3:30, but one of them says it is 03 and one of them says it is 15. Now, thinking about the previous one of these is going to be in the morning, AM, and one of these is going to be in the afternoon, PM. Which do you think is which? Well done if you have said that 03:30 is in the morning and 15:30 is in the afternoon, because if we remember midnight, which is the start of a new day, starts at 00, And so 03 has just gone past midnight, 3 hours after midnight. Whereas at lunchtime, when it turns to PM, which would be 12, 15 is past the 12, so it would be in the PM. Now remember, in thinking about our last one, how many numbers is there between 3 and 15? If you said 12, well done. So again, 12 is in our head, so we're going to keep that number up there, and then we can have a think about why we need. Okay, so down the left hand side, the green writing tells you the time that it is. So we've got 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and so on. Now, the other times are telling you the same time on the same row of what that time is. So for example, 12 o'clock is the same as 0000, but it is also the same as 12, your colon, and then 00. Now, what do you notice between these numbers? So between each line, can you have a look to see what you think you can spot on these numbers, to see what you notice? Now, you should be able to notice that all of the numbers down in the middle column, most of them start with a 0. So we know that these numbers are in the AM. And then we know that the numbers on the right hand side, they start from 12 and they go up to 23, and we know that these are in the PM because they are past lunchtime, midday at 12 o'clock, but obviously we wouldn't have the number 24 because 24 would be a full day, which would restart the day, so it would become 00 again. So a rule that we have noticed now then, to get from AM to PM, we add 12. So why not test it out? So to get from 00 to 12, we add 12. To get from 0 to 1 to 13, we add 12. So between each of these numbers, in your AM and your PM, we need to add 12. So if we were trying to tell you the time, what time it was, right, well, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning, it would be 0200, but if it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I would add 12, so 2 add 12 would be 14, so it would be 14. Alternatively, if I know that it is 20, so if I now look at in my PM and find the number 20, I can see that this is 8 o'clock. Now, if I wanted to go from 8 o'clock in the afternoon and to 8 o'clock in the morning, what do you think you'd have to do this time? Well done if you have said you need to take away 12. So, because remember, in a full day we have 24 hours, and in half a day we have 12. So to turn from the first half of the day to the second half of the day, we need to either add 12 if you're going from AM to PM, or if you're going from PM to AM, we would take away 12. So looking at these two, we can have a look to see if the rule works. So this number here tells me that it is 1 o'clock in the morning, because remember, the 0 at the start tells me that this is AM. Now remember that we also know that this number here is PM. Why again do we know that this time here is PM? Have a think and have a tell your partner or tell your parents. Well done, it is because this number is past 12, and remember, once it hits 12 o'clock in the midday, it turns to PM. So in order to get from AM to PM, let's try it. Let's add 12. So let's put 12 in our head, count on 1, I will get 13. So we can see that this rule works. Now what I'd like you to do for the following times, I'd like you to decide whether they are in the morning, whether they are AM, or in the afternoon if they are PM. Now have a think of the rules that we've just spoken about. One being where the 0 goes if it's AM, one being what the hour time will be showing if it is AM or PM, and what number it will be passing to say that it changes. So have a go at doing the following 5, and just write underneath. You could write this on in a book. You could write 1347 is in the, and then you can tell me the answer. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you the answer because I want you to have a go at doing it. Once you've had a go at doing it all, please restart the video and we'll see if you got them all correct. Okay, let's have a look then. So for the first one, 1347, this is in the afternoon, it is in the PM, because at the minute we're just looking at the hour hand, at the hour time. So 13 is the same as 1, and obviously we will look at that in a little bit more depth. But 13 is past the number 12, so we know it will be in the PM. Alternatively, if we look at 15:37, 15 is also past 12, so this would be in the afternoon as well. Now 06, because it starts with a 0, we know straight away that this will be in the AM. Same with the one in the bottom right corner. We know that this one will be in the morning because it is 04, and we know if it's got a 0 at the start, this tells us it is 4 in the morning. And finally, for 10:37, even though there is not a 0 at the beginning, because 10 is not past 12, this will still be in the morning, because if it was in the afternoon or the evening, we would have to add 12 to the 10 so that it would make it into the PM. So I'd now like you to have a go at doing this. So on the board, I've got some numbers down the left-hand side, which are in the AM, and some numbers down the right-hand side, which is the PM. If you would like, you could copy this out onto your books, and then you could draw a line to match them up. Now, what I would suggest doing is the minutes won't change for some of them, so this might be a clue to help you at least with one of them. And then also to think about the rule. Remember, if we're going from AM to PM, we add 12. So I'll write the rule up at the top. So if we're going from AM to PM, we add 12. Or alternatively, if you're going from PM to AM, we take away 12. Have a go at matching these up, and then we'll see if you've got it correct. So the easiest one to do was actually looking at the minutes first, and there's only one number on here where the minutes are the same, 47. So you can see right at the bottom, 0147 is the same as 1347. We can check it by doing 1 add 12, which will be 13, so we can see this is correct. Now let's start up at the top then. So 0637. Now we know the minutes aren't going to change, so it's going to end in 37. But in order to find the difference between AM and PM, we need to add 12. Fantastic. So 6 add 12, put 12 in your head and count on 6, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I know my PM will be 1837. Let's have a look at the second one then. 10:37. Again, we know this is AM because it is not past 12. And we can add on 12 to find the PM. So 12 in your head, add on 10, you will find the answer is 22. So it'll be 22:37. For number 3, we're looking at 0437. Again, the minutes will stay the same if it is going from AM to PM. And we will add 12 onto the 4. So 12 in your head, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. The answer will be 1637. And finally, 0337, again to turn it into the PM, the minutes will stay the same, but the hour we will add 12 on. So 12 in your head, count on 3, 12, 13, 14, 15, 1537 is your answer. Fantastic if you got all of those correct. Okay, so this time we're going to have a look at if you had a question that asked you, can you write a number in the morning or the afternoon? So can you write 1:30 in the morning and 1:30 in the afternoon? Now, thinking about on a digital clock, without actually doing it into AM and PM first of all, let's first of all do our minutes. So I'm going to show you on this board here. So I put my colon in because I know I'm going to do it as a digital clock. Now, if it is 1:30, how many minutes does that mean it is past the hour? If you need to have a look back at your work from yesterday, please do. Well done. If it is 1:30, remember it will be 30 minutes past the hour, because remember when we do a digital clock, we're saying how many minutes it has gone past the hour. So it's gone 30 minutes past the hour. Now, which hour does it say it has passed? It says it's past 1, so it's gone half an hour past 1. So it is 1:30. Now, if we were to put this as the morning, all we would need to do is what? Have a think. Well done. All I would need to do is to put my 0 before the 1 to show that it is in the morning. So it will be 01:30. Now, if it was the afternoon, what was the rule again? Well, how do you change a time from being in the morning to the afternoon? Well done, we add 12. So our minutes will stay the same, so we can write those in first because we know that they're not going to change. And I just need to add 12 to my 1, which would give me 13:30. So my two answers would be 1:30 being 01:30 if it's in the morning, and 13:30 if it is in the afternoon. Right, I'd like you to have a go at this next one and then we'll see if you get it right. Okay, let's have a look to see if you've got it right. So can you write 20, oh, I've missed out right as well there, but it's supposed to say, can you write 25 minutes past 4 in the morning and 25 minutes past 4 in the morning and 25 minutes past 4 in the afternoon. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write it without doing it as AM and PM first. So let's have a look at my minutes first. So it says my minutes are 25 minutes past, so I can write it in 25 minutes past. Now if it's past, it says it's past 4, so I now know it is 4:25, which is the same as 25 minutes past 4. If I was to turn this into the AM, I can do this nice and simply. I can just put a 0 before my 4. Now my minutes will not change, but how do I get it to change from the AM to the PM? Well done if you have said you add 12. So I'm going to do 12 add 4, which is 16. So 25 minutes past 4 is the same as 04:25 in the morning and 16:25 in the afternoon. Okay, this one gets a little bit more challenging because this one says, can you write 5:45 in the morning and 5:45 in the afternoon? But remember, when we are writing 5:45 on a digital clock, we don't want to know how many minutes to the 6, we want to know how many minutes has passed. So if it is 1:45, we know that it is 15 minutes. So if we do 60, take away 15, we would have 45 minutes, and that would have been 45 minutes. But it will not be 45 minutes past 6 because we are trying to get to the 6. So which hour will it have passed before? It will have passed the 5, so it will be 5:45. Now if we were to change it into AM and PM, can you have a go at changing 5:45 to AM and PM and then play the video to see if you get the right answer. Okay, so to turn it to AM, again, all we have to do is add a 0 onto the beginning. And in order to turn it into PM, I need to add 12 to my hour. My minutes will stay the same. So 5 add 12 is 17. So 5:45 is the same as 5:45 or 17:45. Okay, I'd like you to see if you can have a go at doing this one. Again, if it is 22 minutes to 10, think about how many minutes that has gone past the previous hour. So I'd like you to have a go at doing this one first, thinking about how you would change it from AM to PM. There might be a little trick in here that you might have to watch that doesn't get you caught up in it. So have a go and then pause the video once you're ready to find out if you've got the answer right. Okay, so first of all, let's write it as a digital clock without changing it to 24 hours. So let's have a look at our minutes first. So it says 22 minutes to 10. However, remember, we do not write 22 as our minutes because that tells us it's 22 minutes past. So if you wrote 22 there, you're telling me it's 22 minutes past, but actually we want to know how many minutes to the hour it is. So instead of 22, we would have to take this off 60. So if we did 60 take away 21st would be 40, and if we take off that extra 2, it will be 38. So it will be 38 minutes past. So if we add 38 and 22, you would get 60. Now it says 22 minutes to 10. Does that mean it has got to 10 yet? No, it means it is in the previous hour. So it will be 9:38. Now, in order to turn this into AM, we just need to add a 0 onto the beginning. And if we are changing it into the afternoon, my minutes will stay the same. And my hour, I will have to add 12 onto my hour. 9 add 12 is 21. So well done if you've got, so the AM will be 09:38 and the PM will be 21:38. Okay, we're going to have a look at this one. This one is a challenge now, so I hope you're all ready for a challenge. It says, can you write 10 to 12 in the afternoon and 10 to 12 in the morning? So first thing we're going to do, we're going to write it without it being in 24 hours. We're just going to put it in a digital clock. So 10 to 12. Now it hasn't got to 12 yet, and it's got 10 minutes to go. So we'll have a look at our minutes first. Would I put 10 as my minute? If you said no, that is correct, because it's not 10 minutes past, it's 10 minutes to. So I would need to do 60, take away 10 to get 50, and this would be telling me how many minutes has passed the hour. Now, if it's 10 to 12, it hasn't got to the 12 yet, so it will be in the 11, because it will be 11:50. Now, to turn it from AM into AM, would I need to add a 0? No, because when I write my number as a digital clock, I can only have 4 numbers. I can't have 5 numbers, so I couldn't put a 0 before it because that is 5 numbers. So I would need to get rid of my 0 so that it is now 11:50. Now again, if I was changing it to PM, I would add 12 to my hour, but my minutes would stay the same. So if I add 12, add 21, I would get 23:50, and that would be my answer. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed that challenge, because here is another challenge for you. So this time I have got 10 past 12, which some people might be going, oh gosh, that's easy because it's a past, not a to. So let's first of all write it as 10 past 12. So I can do how many minutes past? Well, it's 10 minutes past, and it's 10 minutes past 12. Now this is where some mistakes might occur, because now we have to change it to AM and to PM. Now, if we remember, when does AM start? What time is it when it's AM? It starts at 0000, and 0000 is the same as 12 o'clock. So what time do you think my morning AM time is going to be? It will be 00:10. Because it is 10 minutes past 12. And remember, 00 is the same as 12, but it's first thing in the morning. It is 00. It starts a new day. Then my afternoon time will actually stay as it is, because I need 4 numbers. I can add 12 to my 00 to get to 12 over here. So if I could have done it like that. However, I know that once it hits 12 o'clock, once the hour here on your digital clock hits 12, I know it becomes in the PM. Okay, so now you've had a go at doing some of these examples with me. If you'd like to go on the online resource that I have shared with you here, and that is on your Seesaw app as well, you'll be able to go and have a look at, and there's an option for you to use 24 hours. Now, if you use this clock, you can do lots of practice on telling the time, telling you whether it's in AM or PM. You could even have a go at challenging yourself to change it so that it goes from the AM to the PM, or even from the PM to the AM, because remember, if we add 12, if it's going from AM to PM, and we take off 12 if it's going from PM to AM. Alternatively, there are some sheets attached to your Seesaw for you to have a go at doing, and they're also on here, and then I will run through the answers at the end. So if you want to then check your answers, you can check them against what I'm also saying as well. Okay, so looking at the answers from your sheets that you've had a go at doing, it says here are some times, write them in the correct part of the table. So you should have said that every time that began with a 0, they should all be in the AM, and all the times where the hour is in the PM, they should be after the number 12. So for example, they should start from 12 or 13. For part B, it says Kim gets up at 8 a.m. Which of the times from the table is this? So we'll have to use the times on the table to show that it is 0800, because remember 8 a.m. it will start, if it's a.m. it will most of the time start with a 0. Scott goes to bed at 8 p.m. So remember, if it's going to 8 p.m. we add 12 to the 8, so we get 20. So you can find that time in there as well. From number 2, you have to match the times, again showing, obviously reading if it says AM or PM. If it says AM, most of the time it will start from with a 0, apart from if it is 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Whereas if it's PM, the times will be past 12 as their hour. Okay, for number 3, Alex is planning her day. She says that I will go to school at 8 o'clock in the morning, show this time on each clock, use the 24-hour time on the digital. So you needed to draw your minute hand pointing to the 12 to show o'clock, the hour hand pointing to the 8 to show that it is 8 o'clock. If it is 8 o'clock in the morning, remember these minutes will be 00 and the hour will be 08. Whereas on the next part it says 8 o'clock in the evening. This will look exactly the same on the analog clock with your minutes and your hands still being the same. However, on your digital clock you would have needed to add 12 to your 8 to show 20.00. Then it says what is the same between your answers with part A and part B, and what is different. You would say that on the analog clock it shows the exact same time as the minute hand and the hours move around the clock. However, on the digital clock, to show the difference in 24 hours, one number is 12 numbers bigger than the other hour. So complete the sentences. 07:45 is 7:45 in the morning because it's got a 0 at the start. 13:40 is 2 in the afternoon because remember 13 is after 12. If you're wanting to say it is in the morning, remember most of the time it will have a 0 at the start. So if it's 8:25, it should be 08:25. And if it is 7:15 in the evening, it should be 19:15, because if you add 12 to the 7, you would get the number 19 because it's in the evening. And finally, 15:45 is 3:45 in the afternoon. If you put 2:45, that is because you have, remember the time there says it's 45 minutes past 3, so it's trying to get to the 4. Rosie, Ron, Annie and Mo are telling the time. Rosie said it is 3:20. Ron says it is 15:20. Annie says that it is 3:20 a.m. and Mo says that it is 3:20 p.m. Who is correct? And circle your answer. Now, I would say that if I was looking at this, I would first of all have looked at the time on the clock, and I would have looked at the analog clock to tell the time. So I can see that the minute hand is 20 minutes past 3. Now, looking at every single one of these answers, every single one of these could be right because it shows 3:20, but we don't know whether it is in the morning or the afternoon unless it was on a digital clock. Okay, write the times as 24-hour clocks. So again, you need to read whether it is AM. So if it's AM, it will put a 0 before it. And if it is PM, you need to add 12 to the number. So please have a look at those to make sure you've got your answer correct. Remember, your minutes will not change, just your hours. Write the 24-hour clock times using AM and PM. So this time you have got the hours for number 7 that are already in AM and PM, and you need to now identify it. So all of the ones which are with a 0 at the start will generally be with AM, and all the ones which are after 12 will be PM. But remember, so for example, for when you get to section D, remember an E, you need to tell me it as a number, as a 12-hour number. So for example, 13:27, the minutes will stay the same. I know it's in the PM because 13 is past 12, and if I do 13 take away 12, I know that that is 1:27 in the afternoon, so it'd be 1:27 PM. Dexter wants to watch a program at 6 PM. He looks at his clock and it shows the time 17:10. Oh no, it's 10 minutes past 7. I've missed it. Is Dexter correct? Well, no, he isn't, because even though it has a 7 in the number, remember this is a 24-hour clock. If you take the 12 off the 17, you would know that it is 5:10, not 7:10. I hope you've all done really well with that. Please post up your answers onto Seesaw so I can have a look, and I hope you have a lovely day.